morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at a new Flygon, and a new tool, and frankly, a bunch of very fun stuff. Sounds like a plan? Excellent. So let's start off with the aforementioned new Flygon. Now, everybody likes Flygon. People were really hoping for a new Mega Flygon. People wanted that in Legends ZA. That is something people have been very vocal about. Well, I'm not saying we're not getting a Mega Flygon, but there are some people who are a little bit worried that it getting a regular card here means it's not getting a Mega. I don't think that's the case personally, but as with all of this, we're going to have to wait and see later on. As it is, we do still have a new Flygon, so we should probably have a look at it. Quickly, if we have a look at the pre-evolutions here, we've got ourselves a Trapinch, which is 70 HP, which at least means we can use Buddy Buddy Poffin. Single energy, flip 2 coins, 10 damage for each heads. This would not be good in Pokemon TCG Pocket. So I think that tells you what you need to know about the regular TCG and its usefulness therein. As for the Vibrava, you got up to 90 HP, 2 energy, 60. Yeah, there's nothing really in these pre-evolutions worth getting hyped about. But we do have a new Flygon. Now, to be fair, Flygon's attack 2 energy 130 is arguably the very definition of underwhelming. But it does have a rather interesting ability. And the ability says, when you play this Pokemon from your hand, to evolve one of your Pokemon in play, you may discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. And also, if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is KO'd by damage from an opponent's attack, you may discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. Okay. That's best case scenario, 4 cards getting discarded by playing this stage 2. Is that going to be enough? Arguably not. Like, we've had a bunch of cards in the past, like, for instance, the Rhyperior from Burning Shadows. We've had this ability a couple of times, it's just one that springs to mind, that let you discard 3 cards just on evolution. No mucking about, nothing else needed. Evolve, discard 3 cards. We had the same thing on the Aggron that came around in Dragons Exalted. When you evolve into it, discard 3 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. This is 2 cards on evolution, 2 cards when KO'd. Which means you are getting 4 cards rather than 3. That's an advantage. Yay! But it also means you have to give up a prize and let your Flygon go down. Now, it does have to be damage from an attack, so there are ways to KO this with an ability, special conditions, etc., and avoid the ability. And similarly, it has to be active when it gets KO'd in order to activate the mill. So you've got to be sitting there using your 2 energy 130. Now, the good news is this is a fighting Pokemon, which means we've got a bunch of options, so to speak. We've got that new protein item card that lets you do an extra 30 damage with your fighting Pokemon's attacks. That's going to be quite nice. Like, basically, all fighting Pokemon just got a bunch better. Because we've got this, which then lets you do the extra 30 damage, because we've got the new item card that lets you search out basic fighting Pokemon and energy, and because we've got that new Lunatone, for instance, that lets you draw cards, we do have really nice ways to support fighting Pokemon right now. That's the good news. The bad news is I'm not sure this is necessarily the one that we want to get ridiculously excited about. I'm just not sure this is going to be good enough, which honestly makes me really very sad. I like the milling, don't get me wrong, the milling here is an awful lot of fun, but it does just strike me as I'm not sure you're getting enough value here. I'm not sure you're getting enough from what you're given. I think getting the stage 2 out and then having to sit there using an underwhelming attack is I'm just not sure it's going to work well enough. I mean, the good news is the attack will one-hit KO a Pheasantipity, yay! But overall, I worry that the ability is fun, and it's just not going to end up being reliable enough. I'm sorry. But the new tool we've got, this one could make a whole heap of a difference. According to the lovely Antoine Boulet, the name best translates as Sacred Charm. And I'm just going to believe this, frankly, because Antoine's way better at translating Japanese than I am. Although I have translated all the effects myself, as I always do. And basically, the Pokemon this card is attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have any abilities. Oh. That's really good. That's like really good. Because the reality is that right now we have a bunch of very, very relevant Pokemon around in the format that have abilities, like Golden Go. Golden Go has become, well, at the World Championships it was the most played deck. At the Frankfurt Regionals this past weekend that I was casting, it was a lot of fun, was not the most played deck, but was still absolutely there, absolutely legit. We did get one. Drew Stevenson got into top 8 with the deck. So, still absolutely viable, and that's a deck that doesn't really play very many backup attackers, and Golden Go's got an ability. Now, Golden Go also has the Make It Rain attack, so they can just, if they're short of an attack, they can discard an extra energy from their hand to do an extra 50 damage with Make It Rain. Fine, but maybe they don't have that extra energy. Like, Golden Go whiffs KOs all the time for being 1 energy short. The idea here is that, you've got 280, your opponent needs 6 energy to discard to KO you, but now with this, you've effectively got 310, so now your opponent needs a 7th energy to KO you. And maybe they have it, but maybe they don't. Take something like Charizard, another very relevant Pokemon right now, seeing a whole bunch of play. Its attack does an extra 30 damage for each prize card that you, as their opponent, have taken. Well, this means that they do 30 less damage, so essentially you are undoing 1 KO's worth of damage every time Charizard attacks into you, and this is a wonderful thing. Something like Gardevoir right now, it takes Gardevoir's attack from 190 down to 160. And make no mistake, in modern Gardevoir lists, Gardevoir is an absolutely viable, legitimate attacker. Well, now all of a sudden it's not going to work nearly as well. Take something like Teal Mask Ogerpon. Not the biggest attacker around, but sometimes used for its attacking prowess. Well, now all of a sudden it takes 30 less. The problem is, we have a bunch of Pokemon around right now that don't have abilities. Dragapult, phenomenal attacker, no ability. You know what often attacks instead of Teal Mask Ogerpon? Raging Bolt. Doesn't have an ability. And we can find some more out there Pokemon like Marnie's Grimmsnarl, with which Mike Ellis got 12th place this past weekend in Frankfurt. Absolutely does have an ability, but then we can counter that with a bunch of other Pokemon that like attacking that don't have abilities, like the Greninja, with which Richard Herman got 11th place this weekend. So my point is, yes, there are a bunch of Pokemon with abilities where you can save the damage, yay, but there are also a bunch of Pokemon out there that don't. This is not a magic catch-all against every deck. This is a really nice tech against certain matchups. And in those matchups, this is going to be a phenomenal card. But then again, we got stuff around right now like Town Store. So play 1 or 2 of these in your deck and just search it out if you need it. There's a bunch of Noctowl decks around right now that can search out 2 trainers when you evolve into it. So don't play 4 of them and use it as your main key part of your strategy. Play 1 or 2 as techs against decks if you feel like you're in an awkward matchup against a Pokemon that has an ability. And if you're pretty sure that 30 damage will make a difference in that matchup, well, wonderful, wonderful news! This is going to give you a good option. Flygon, I really like as the ability, but I feel like it's a stage 2 of an underwhelming attack, so it might not be as good as we hope. This I do see as a tool which is going to see a bunch of play, and that makes me happy. And obviously, these are cards from Inferno X over in Japan, but they're going to be in Phantasmal Flames over here. Not 100% guaranteed, but overwhelmingly likely. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the new cards. That's what you need. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these. Do you think you're going to see a bunch of play? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely AB3, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.